Oh, okay. So we're live now. This is another live stream here on plus smorgasbord. The symbol. And we're expecting um, guests tonight, new faces, hopefully, and of course the usual suspects will be here also. Um, we're experiencing some inclement weather here in the Philippines right now. It is um, within the Manila area, and we're hoping that everyone is safe and dry. It's been raining for a few hours now. It's not really that heavy. It's not heavy rain now. But we're supposed to be having a signal number 3 kind of time period. It's called Cardi. Let's take 14 minutes. Figure out what it's called internationally. The rest, the module is joining us from the comment section on YouTube. Well, we're doing YouTube live streaming videos. Considering doing FUI streams. Of course, we'll be talking about stuff, changing new things. So we're still waiting for our friends to join us. I'm going to do an update on our ongoing fundraiser. We still have 5,700 pesos for our placements, and we're a long way to go on our target. Target is about 18 to 20,000 for fishing boats that we plan on giving to different to the entire family. Hopefully by the end of the year, it looks impossible, but we're hoping that more people will be kind of in to maybe spare. So that her family to be able to finally have their own kitchen boats. So we have our new time here trying this tonight. Hey, John. Hello. Hey. Hey, John. How you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? John? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, John. Hey, Clifton.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good, good. I think Sean cannot hear me.
Okay. John,
But
can you hear me?
Hey guys, yeah, I can hear a little bit, but not that clear.
Okay.
I think you'll need to wear some earbuds there or something.
Yeah, we hear background music.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually outside at a friend's restaurant. That's why I didn't have all my gears with me.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Okay, that's fine, I think. But how can you hear my audio?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I put it up to maximum now, so I can hear you.
Okay, great. So it's really great. It's really great to have you with us tonight. Finally.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Mm,
I just
well,
typed it, but yeah, good to see you here.
yeah. I think we're expecting another regional coordinator. Is that right?
Well, yeah, Joel showed interest. There's no guarantees that were given, but I sent him the info and told him when, so we'll see. But
Yeah. Okay.
if not, we have us three, and maybe someone else will tune in too. So
Yeah.
maybe in a bit we could do some quick introductions. Just
Yeah.
the first time for John.
Yes. So well, why don't you share a bit about yourself, John, to our viewers?
A bit about myself.
Yeah. What do you do? What are your interests? Why are you involved in TVP right now?
Well, I've been involved with TVP for about, I think, 10 years now.
Oh,
So it's been a long time, but as a regional coordinator, that's about 3 years.
nice, nice.
Right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I live in Malaysia, and my parents, my mom is Swiss from Switzerland, and my dad is a Malaysian Chinese.
Oh, okay.
So I'm mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've lived in Malaysia all my life, except for maybe 3 to 4 years in the 90s, where I was living in Switzerland,
Mm-hmm. Well,
in the city of Geneva and Zurich.
well, I hear it's beautiful there.
It's beautiful,
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, and I can see pictures too.
but it's a small country, and you can get around pretty easily just by traveling by train.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can probably see the whole country in about a week.
Wow.
Yeah. So small place with good transportation. You move around easily. Everyone speaks English, so yeah, it's a nice place to go. I recommend it.
Yeah, I've been thinking of going there myself. I haven't been to Europe before, and I got interested in science, a scientific-based person. So finding out about the Large Hadron Collider at the CERN
Oh yeah.
center
Oh
there
yeah.
Yeah, in CERN, that's right.
is something I wanted to see.
So
and
they've started.
go ahead.
Yeah, they put the project on hold for a while, and now it's back early this year, I believe.
Yeah.
So they really found the God particle, huh? The Higgs boson.
Yeah, I think so.
They found it along with a lot of other particles in the particle zoo.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't keep up with the latest developments there, but
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting and something I'd like to see, and visit Switzerland and see the Alps and all these villages way up in the mountains. It's just beautiful. And the people are, well educated and nice people from what I hear too. it's expensive, but I'm sure not much more than the United States or less. For people who don't know what that is, that machine, it's a scientific, it's a atom smashing machine. It's a particle accelerator. That's the most advanced scientific machine and largest that's ever been created.
Yeah, the largest magnet in the world.
Yeah, it's just a giant loop, a giant circle.
Yeah.
That they smash atoms together at by the millions every hour.
Yeah.
And they try to figure out secrets of the universe basically through particle physics. And it's just a giant machine. It overlaps Switzerland and France, I believe. It's on the border. But it's just a giant international consortium, just a giant project by different countries around the world who have scientists there. One thing that most people probably don't know is that machine is a secondary one that was going to be developed originally in the United States.
Yeah. What do they call the first one in the United States? It's just, I think it's just a straight structure instead of a circular one. Yeah.
No, I don't think so, but maybe. My understanding is that it has to be a giant loop because they're sending these particles around it at almost the speed of light. But Congress in the United States, the government passed a bill that was supposed to fund it, and they actually started digging out the site and spent several $billions on it. It was going to be like 2 or 3 times bigger than what they have at CERN, but then they decided not to fund it anymore because they wanted to pay for other things. And they defunded it, and then they basically spent a few more $1 billion covering up the hole that they dug.
Oh.
And wasted like $4 or $5 billion starting this project and then canceling it. And then in Europe, they decided to go ahead with it, and they built a smaller one, and that's what they have at CERN. But I know all this stuff because I follow Neil deGrasse Tyson and Star Talk and these science educators, and they talked about it.
Yeah. But from what I remember, from my, I tend to forget, but that's what I read before. But I have been to track, again. Well, have you been to CERN though, Jean?
Yes.
Oh, like in the Louvre?
No, I haven't been there. No.
Wow. So, but you've been near the area.
In CERN? No. Which city was it? I can't remember. I have to plead ignorance in this. Is it?
It's on the border of France and Switzerland, but I forget the city.
Well, I think it has to be near Geneva.
Yeah.
That's where we have our family home actually, but nope, I have not gotten anywhere near CERN. So
okay.
So
wow.
I thought you said you'd been there. Because you said yep.
Yeah, I mean it was in the early 90s that I was there. So my interest at that time was not so much in science yet.
What was it?
I was doing well, I was kind of pushed to pursue a career in hotel management. So that's what Switzerland was famous for.
Wow, so hotel?
Oh, hotel. Okay.
Hotel management, yeah. So I finished my course and I worked there for maybe 2 years before I got back to Malaysia.
Okay. So how did you know about Jacques Fresco's work?
Sorry,
was
how
it
do I
back
know about?
Jacques Fresco's work? Was it back in 2012 or earlier than that?
No, it was maybe 10 years ago. So way after I got back from Switzerland. Yeah. Yeah, I was there in the early 90s, 1990, 91. Came across TVP, I think about a decade later.
I see. What was the first thing you saw? Was it a
10 years
video?
after. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and it was through the zeitgeist,
Hmm.
the zeitgeist movement
I think it's the
that I
same.
came to
Yeah.
know about TVP.
In my case, I saw like a clip of Jock wearing this black leather jacket and talking. I think that's like a clip from TVP. I mean, Zeitgeist movie or something. And
Yeah, it didn't take me very long to kind of figure out that Peter Joseph was kind of like a messenger for RBE, and that the original idea and the structure of a organization came from Jacques. So I tracked it down to TVP and I got in touch with Sue, I think at that time. That's how I jumped into the OP, the course,
yeah.
and never looked back.
Nice. I mean, like here in the Philippines,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who know about TVP, but I think that the groups still need to be organized somehow, or to meet more often and discuss and whatever, share activities. Well, it's always hard for like-minded people to really meet in person and plan things and stuff. But anyway, the virtual world is is convenient. And
Yeah, I mean, if you go about with the expectation that you're going to meet people that understands a lot about TVP or a resource-based economy, you probably be disappointed. I mean, there are a lot of people with bits and pieces of information.
yeah,
They may have come across the Venus project in the past. The idea is there of a better world, a more sustainable world.
Yeah.
But in a very general sense, and I guess the urgency is not quite there at the moment.
Well, people are busy trying to survive, making money and stuff. Just trying to live day by day.
Yep.
So it's hard. It's hard. And people mostly, they have a different interpretation or understanding of the concepts. It's natural.
In a way,
they see it through their eyes and through their background. So
ironically, I mean, in a way, it's true, because I don't think an RBE is going to happen that soon. So transition, I guess, is going to take a long time. Mainly because we are probably in too deep now in the monetary system, that it's not easy to replace it or get out of it. It's practically impossible in the real world.
Well, I think on the contrary, it is possible to do. It's doable. People may be like people like us may still be, trying to earn our keep every day, but here, intellectually or cognitively, we're that person should be aware, should be,
Totally
you know,
agree. Yep.
yeah, that's
Totally agree with
how, yeah. So Jacques Fresco would say something like cerebral enema. That's what we mean. So
Yep.
we need to make that quantum jump here, because it's really a different kind of mindset, really different kind of thinking, different kind of logic. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
where it gets.
when you make that mental switch, right?
Mhm.
A lot of things change, especially in the way you go about your everyday life and how you view what a career should be, what a business should be, And as for myself, I find that a lot of my activities that I spend a lot of my time in has changed tremendously as well. So I now do a lot of volunteering activities that does not cost any money.
Oh, like what? What, for example?
I volunteer a lot. I work with a few organizations in Malaysia that promotes biodiversity, sustainable living.
Mhm.
So they don't need people with a very high
Right.
qualification, right? Anybody can just be a citizen scientist. That's what they call it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it doesn't cost me anything, just my time,
Mhm.
and it doesn't pay, and I'm perfectly all right with it.
Sure. Yeah.
Looking back, 10 years ago, I might not be doing that. Yeah. So up here, you're right.
Mhm. But do you think that greening the earth or buildings or whatever infrastructure would change society? If we were just concerned about the environment.
Definitely. I think you need to have that knowledge as to how we are destructing the planet
Mhm.
and what are the things that we should avoid at all costs. What kind of behaviors should change, our way of living.
Mhm.
And once you begin to absorb that and understand what's important in order for us to guarantee ourselves a brighter future and for the next generation, the mindset will automatically adapt to an idea of a resource-based economy in the days to come.
We all start somewhere. We take baby steps and work our way towards really the goal. We'll get there soon. Hopefully.
I guess if you look at the climate activists, for example, right, and it's a very strong movement globally,
Mhm.
and most of the people that are climate activists or support such activities, they do understand to a certain extent how the natural world function and work, and what are the activities that our current socio-economic system uh, supports, which are contrary or detrimental to the environment, right?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of people that I feel can easily relate to what the Venus Project is proposing.
Mhm. Do you think they're relating to that part of the Venus Project where, you know, the volunteers or the really care about the environment? So and so they go planting trees and setting up. Would you do you believe in, you know, starting a commune, like, you know, self sufficient little small communities?
Yes, I think it takes the smaller projects and the not so complicated entry level for people to get involved. And then if they choose to understand further, they would pursue it in their own way. And if they know about TVP, some of them might just get very interested.
Yeah, because they've already been doing these little things, yeah, all their lives. So yeah, it would be nice to see all these organizations like Greenpeace and all these other, yeah, environmentalist groups work together, you know, along with the actual formal scientists and physicists and, you know, mathematicians and all.
I get the feeling that it's all there. Everything is more or less ready. If there is something drastic that would happen that would wake people up, because I guess the technology is there, the knowledge is there, and it's not a complicated subject, a complicated idea to have a society that operates without money, outside or without the monetary system. However, I feel that a lot of people are still in their comfort zone because natural disasters are not across the globe in every location. So, for example, in Malaysia, we have very little natural disasters annually as compared to Sri Lanka, for example, the Philippines. So, you know, people are still rather comfortable with the way they are living or going about their lifestyle, and are comfortable. They're just in the comfort zone. So if these setbacks are not present, and if you tell them that you have to act a certain way in order to ensure that the next 2 or 3 generations to come would not suffer the consequences, I don't think people are ready for that. You know, like what you said earlier. I mean, they're too concerned about the present and not so much the future. That's the problem.
Why do you think is that why are people behaving that way though, Chris?
Well, I think most people are very much concerned about being happy. You know, they want a happy life. They want a life that they don't have to worry too much. So if you ask them to worry about something that's going to happen in 20 years, 50 years, yeah, it may strike them at the time when you're talking to them, but you know, the next day or the next week, they'll be caught up with the real world again. You know,
but the answer to people's problems is just money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So they worry about the future with regards to money. You know, how will they survive in 20 years? You know, and
In a different sense, I mean, if you're worried about money, you would save up for it, right? You would save your money. You know, you have a certain amount of retirement money put aside, but that's very different from solving the problem that the world is facing. You know, if you're talking about saving up money so that you can live in 10 or 20 years when you retire, you're more or less talking about yourself, right? So it's pretty shallow because it doesn't touch on what are the consequences of you going about with the current lifestyle and methods of making that money, that profit, right? Because everybody assumed that it's fine because you don't think about the consequences 20 years later. Yeah. So yeah, that's life, you know. Everybody's very much caught up.
yeah, and our money system is just, you know, naturally inflationary. You know, inflation is natural, it's normal. So prices go up, and then people, you know, incur debt, more and more debt. So that's so what's the problem there? You put up a business, you incur debt because, you know, you need funds or you need partners for your business, for your corporation or whatever, but the banks lend you money for that. And so it's just a cycle. You know, why can't we just work it out within the system?
A lot of people I speak to when it comes to an economy that's operating on debts, they don't see it that clearly. You know, you have rich, you have the poor, right? Whether you're poor because you're lazy, or is it because you're unlucky, or is it because, you know, you spend too much? There's so many factors to distract everyone when it comes to the current socio-economic system. Just way too much complications, right? And whether they agree with it or not, that is the system now, right? So you have to either go along with it or you have to live a life that's very much different from everybody else.
Mhm. So how does the resource-based economy solve most, if not all, of these problems?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you repeat that?
How does the how will the resource-based economy solve these problems we're having?
With that,
Yeah,
Oh.
how yeah, how does the Venus Project or RDE solve these problems? How
Well-
do we solve these?
well, I mean, RBE or the Venus Project is it's basically proposing a solution, right? That would take us away from outdated socio-economic systems and activities and behaviors that are self-destructive, as well as to our environment. It's pretty straightforward, if you ask me, right? To have a system that works for everybody, that looks after us and the environment without exception, and using the methods of science. Now, if you say this to any educated person, they would agree. They would agree that that should be the route that we should be taking. But they would, in the end, tell you that it's going to be difficult. It's not going to happen immediately because they are resigned to the control that exists by the power that be. And that is something that is true. I do agree with them that it's not going to be easy, right, to immediately switch the global economy to an RBE. That's not going to happen because the powers that be, the systems that are being promoted by the people in powerful places are not going to go away immediately. And that's a fact, right? That's a fact. So you either have to wait for that generation to die and move on and to be replaced by their children or their children's children who are more open to the fact that our current monetary system is really counterproductive to the survival of our species.
Well, I think at this point, we have to say our disclaimer.
You have to be patient, because we are basically just part of a big puzzle, right? We play our own small role, and hopefully that would change the future for the new generation. There's no guarantee because nobody can predict with 100% accuracy that the human species is going to be around in the next 100 years or the next 50 years, right?
So what Stephen was talking about is the disclaimer we usually give when we're talking to the public. And we just have to say that we're volunteers and we don't legally represent the Venus Project. So this appearance may not precisely reflect the views of the Venus Project, but we work on behalf of them and we're volunteers. So, but yeah, you're doing well explaining some of the details and the ins and outs of the switch over. It's very complicated. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's a paradox we live in because we're talking and we're interested in improving the system and actually outgrowing it into something new. Yet it's at the same time, it's something we all depend on for stability. And it is the most, at least the way it's practiced now in where I'm from, the most successful and global economic model that we have tried on a large basis. What is that? Is that a
mug?
Transformer?
Yeah. Bumblebee mug.
Wait, see, we're all indoctrinated. We know what this character is from a movie, right? Good example, right? Marketing. So, yeah, that just explains a little bit of part of it, but we all live in the system when we're indoctrinated by it. But it's also doing great damage to the environment, which is why this climate change movement is so powerful, because it's finally starting to really sink in because people are actually looking around and seeing it in their environment that they live in. Fires are happening in Europe now. I've never heard of that.
And now we're experiencing a typhoon here in the Philippines, or at least in Manila. Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that there's this cognitive dissonance when people are comfortable. Like John was saying, we're comfortable, we're complacent. We have our TV shows and movies and our media we like, we go to our jobs, we're used to it, we think it's the way it has to be, and everything seems okay on the surface, but underneath there it's boiling, it's starting to boil. You're starting to see these cracks in the system, but how many of us have the power to really change anything or do anything about it? Individually, we don't. So most people would rather just feel that dissonance, that little bit of, stress, and think, well, I can't do anything about it. And it's much easier to just forget about it and move on and continue with your life. But people that do this kind of volunteer work are different in a way. They can't just ignore it. They have to feel like they're doing something about it. And so, eventually, either we're going to have to change the system and outgrow it in some real way, or nature will dictate that we change. And that's not the choice you want to be given. That is no choice, because it's being forced upon you due to our own collective actions as people. So it's a paradox, because we're all individuals with no real power, yet we know there's something wrong and we want to change it, but we can't. So what do? Well, we're talking about it, we're educating ourselves and trying to educate other people, because that's the only way it's going to happen. People aren't going to do it on their own. The wealthy and the powerful and governments are, government leaders are not going to change the system that put them there, and that everything is founded on. It has to be from the masses, and it has to be a technological evolution that eventually outgrows the old system, and hopefully does it sooner than later.
Yeah. Hey guys, listen, I gotta go because my battery is also running a bit low.
Sure.
You guys gonna be around next Sunday?
Yeah,
It should be.
for sure, yes.
Right. I'm looking forward to the next session. Yeah, next Sunday.
All right.
Because
All right.
I'm not getting very good audio here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're glad that you were able to make it. For
Sorry?
short. We're glad that you were able to make it to the live stream tonight. What time is it there? What time is it there?
It's 10:43.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I think we
So-
have the same time in the Philippines and Malaysia.
Mhm.
Neighbors.
Neighbors, yes. Okay, so see you then next Sunday.
All right. Yeah. I look forward to it. All right. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Good to see you, John. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys.
Have a nice life.
Yeah,
See ya.
see ya.
Bye.
So there.
That was nice.
That was nice. Yes. We were able to really listen to some very important points he was trying to say about his advocacy as a volunteer.
Yeah. He's a pretty knowledgeable about this idea. He's well spoken, and I learned a little bit about his background that I didn't know myself. So
Yeah.
maybe he'll start coming on regular.
Yeah, hopefully more RCs would be able to join us.
Yeah,
And,
we'll talk about it maybe at our next meeting. And I've done this for a little while and just kind of assumed nobody was interested. But at our last meeting, I brought it up and just reminded everyone, because a lot of the people there are new now.
Oh, yeah.
We have people
And-
dropping out.
Isn't it that there's another like live stream headed by what's his name?
Yeah, Pejman was
Yeah,
doing
Pejman.
one every Friday.
Every
I
Friday?
think
It's still going on?
not anymore. He was doing it really consistently for a while, a couple of years, I think.
Mm.
and he started to do the socio-cyberneering
Of
education
course,
course.
yeah. Mhm. With Stu
And that-
and
Yeah, with Sue and the teacher who's been doing it for a while. His name escapes me at the moment. But I think I actually reached out to him a couple weeks ago, and that's on hold right now, I think. So, it's hard to be consistent when you're trying to live your life and work a job and have kids and stuff.
yes,
So,
exactly. The teacher wasn't he with the OP handling our class, or what's his name now? He's not that old.
yeah, no, I don't think he was involved in the orientation program
Um,
for regional coordinators. He was just doing the SEP, we call it, socio cyberneering course.
yeah, it'd be nice to join those guys there.
What's that?
It would be nice to join the social cyberneering course.
Yeah, it's a limited thing though. It's very limited. He can only take a couple people through at a time. His name's Theo, I forgot.
Yeah. The pilots.
Yes, he's a pilot, Theophilus Chaldesos. And I believe he has a family as well, so his resources are limited. And it's the same old story that we have people that do things for a while and then life takes them away, and eventually maybe I'll go away too, and I'll have things I have to do. There's no guarantees in
Well,
life.
you've been doing this for 10 years now,
Yeah, as soon as I find someone and get married and have a kid, you might
Oh,
see me disappear if that ever happens, but it's
Well,
looking like it's not going to.
Why?
But
Why not?
huh?
Why not?
I mean, it could at any time, but I mean, I'm in my late 40s and haven't had a family yet, so I'm not counting on it. But for a while, it's been something that I just say, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll still have plenty of things to do and
Yeah,
satisfying things to
get
do in
busy
life.
with.
Yeah, there's so many things to do. I mean, it would be great.
So many things.
Nobody likes to be alone, but you don't want to be with someone that makes you miserable either.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, people here in Manila are quite worried about the weather. Just they announced earlier in the afternoon or today that it's signal number 3, and it's quite strong, at that signal. But it's been raining consistently. It's been mellow, but so other people say this was the case back when it's like the calm before the storm. So people are anticipating something big after this. Yeah. So we were flooded back when Typhoon Ondoy struck the Philippines. So it was a terrible experience. Hopefully that won't happen now this time. So we have these problems because of the socio-political structure we have, socio-economic system we have. People can be bought with money, and projects are just diluted because it corrupts people. Money corrupts people. So we expose ourselves to risks.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's a natural behavior resulting from the system.
Yeah, people, they have different backgrounds, and wherever you live, you have different opportunities. Everyone's different, and everyone's just trying to make a living, trying to
Yeah.
survive.
Whether in an illegal or legal way, that's just natural behavior. And you can judge a corrupt politician for being corrupt. You know,
Yeah,
we can't, though it's bad. We feel bad about it, we're affected by it. You can't just whine and whine about these problems when, but it's hard to come up with the right kind of solution, or the holistic kind of solution. People people have these good intentions of changing the system, to be good at public service and wherever. But
mhm.
yeah, it's just not enough. Like earlier I was asking John if greening the environment would be enough. Would it change the system? But we all start somewhere, and it helps. Greening, it helps a little. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like an intuitive thing that you would think of greening the environment, but really, why do we have to think about greening the environment when that's how it's always been throughout the Earth's history, going back billions of years. The bigger question is, why did we ungreen the environment? What led us to that stage? And it just comes down to education. We didn't know when we started finding fossil fuel out of the ground what it was going to do. It was just cheap energy that was easy to access and gave us abundance like we've never experienced. And that's when the Industrial Revolution started. Because now, suddenly, in that time, human beings had access to so much power and energy that before we had to do ourselves with our own bodies. We had a plow and we had our own hands to get work done. But all of a sudden, with the discovery of oil and fossil fuels, we had millions and millions of people's worth of energy and power doing work for us. And then things like factories and automobiles were created, and cities were built, and unprecedented wealth was built off that. And that's what our society is still based on. We still have a society that is fossil fuel based, and it powers almost everything still. It brings us all of our plastics, and it creates a lot of petrochemical fertilizers, and you name it, anything from cosmetics to pesticides to fertilizers to building our cars and vehicles and buildings. Even pharmaceutical drugs are fossil fuel based.
This whole monetary system is dependent on fossil fuel.
Yeah, it's the cornerstone of civilization today. Without it, we wouldn't have cities. We'd still be living in little villages. But with all that power and energy we got from fossil fuels, that's dwarfed by the power and the amount of energy from just the sun. We have enough solar energy being shed on Earth every day to power Earth for a full year just from 1 hour's worth of that solar energy. This is something that MIT just actually figured out over 10 years ago,
Mm.
and something that's repeated by Ray Kurzweil.
Now that
He's
you
a
mention him, I was just
Huh?
trying, now that you mentioned Ray, a while ago, I was watching this interview that you shared, right? But I was just able to see the first few minutes.
Yeah,
But of course, he's known for his what was the book he wrote first? The Singularity is Near or something?
yeah, the Singularity is Near is probably his biggest one, but he before that wrote The Age of Spiritual Machines
Oh.
and several other futuristic technologically based books. And then he wrote How to Build a Mind
Um,
about, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, actually now. It's been on my list, but I find it hard to read books anymore when there's so much
oh yeah, I
video
understand.
education out there. But reading's good too. And now he's talking about his next book. Here's the link in chat from his interview with Lex Friedman. I was
Yeah,
just
yes,
watching
I
it a
thought
few
that.
minutes ago.
Yeah, I was
And
watching it too.
yeah, I haven't seen him do an interview for a year or two, but this is a good one. And Lex Friedman is a AI educator, a professor at MIT as well. I found him through the Joe Rogan Experience, and
So, what can you comment about this concept of consciousness? As Ray would put it, it's not a scientific question. It's just a philosophical question that he believes in. You know,
yeah,
because if consciousness could be pegged to be the foundation of sentience and the AI machines, as you predicted, would pass a Turing test, and
yeah,
these machines to be thought of having consciousness of their own.
yeah. Ray is an inventor, and he's a researcher, and he studies the development of technology and intelligence and artificial intelligence, and he charts out the progress of it in very clear ways. And he has predicted for a while that machines will become much more intelligent than people based on the trends that he's tracked with the power of computing, computational power, and the price of it going down while the power just keeps going up. And he talks a lot about exponential growth. He's introduced that concept to a lot of people, and he doesn't see any boundaries or borders between human intelligence and machine intelligence in the future, and says that there will be a time in the near future where, if the growth and the speed of technology keeps increasing at the current rate, it will go to a point where humans will no longer be able to even understand the rapid growth of technology and intelligence, and machines will become almost godlike in their intelligence and their power, because they don't have the limitations of a small brain that we have. They can branch out at the speed of light and learn all of human history within seconds. And he says that they will become conscious just like us. And his book that he wrote actually outlines how the human brain works.
How to build a mind. How to build a mind.
Yeah, he studied how the mind works, and there's no real physics issue with creating a machine that can learn and grow and develop like the human mind and operate essentially. And when machines can do that and they can grow at the speed of technology and technological growth, that they'll be able to grow in intelligence in a matter of minutes the amount or more than humans took hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years to grow our intelligence. And so what he predicts is that machines will become so intelligent that they'll be indistinguishable from what we consider as gods nowadays that can do anything. They will have creativity and they'll be able to understand very intricate details of the universe, and they'll have these abilities to do things that we can't even imagine right now because of their unlimited growth potential. And it's exciting and scary at the same time. It always leads to the question, well, what if these machines decide to take over and enslave human beings and we become their pets, and what if they decide the best course of action for the universe or for Earth is to eliminate all humans because we were destroying it, things like that, like Terminator scenarios.
Well, I think the next stage here would be, the interface of machines and human beings, organic
Yeah.
matter and metals and circuitry,
Yeah, he says that, and then you're already seeing the merging of technology and humans together.
Mm-hmm.
He says that we will start to enable our own bodies and our own minds with the technology we're creating. And it's already clearly happening. And Neuralink is probably the most advanced thing right now that people are aware of, that's directly putting a machine interface into our skull. And right now, what Neuralink is doing is, the reason they're doing it, I should say, is to help cure brain injuries and help people who are disabled. But the same exact technology could be used to improve things, improve communication, for instance, between people. And instead of having to type a little message on your phone with your thumbs,
your brain's dictating it. It's automatically.
You directly move it from your brain to another person's brain and send it. And it's kind of mind-blowing and seems outrageous, but 30 years ago, telling someone about what a smartphone is today would seem outrageous.
Well, I mean, by then, people would not need limbs to communicate, just their minds or their brains, right?
Yeah, and think about people who don't have limbs or who have some kind of brain injury that enables them to do things that they can't right now. There's people who don't have arms and legs, and certain technologies allowed them to walk again or to hear again even. They're implanting cochlear implants into the ear mechanism of people and allowing them to hear because it connects their eardrums to their brain again. And people who were blind, I don't know if blindness has been cured, but it's improved people's vision and made them able to see better. And
so
it's obvious that they're going to be able to do that in the future.
Nanotech would play a great part there. Nanotech would be part of AI. I think nanotech is AI.
Yeah. Ray talks about that as well. Nanotechnology is just the ability to engineer things on a nuclear scale, on the atom level. And if you can change things on the atomic level, you can take a piece of wood and rearrange the wood into a piece of titanium, because all that is a series of atoms that are in different formations.
But imagine, because people have been accustomed to this idea of time travel, but the problem with the concept is just, how much power it needs or energy needs to disintegrate something and then reform that thing in another timeline. And so kind of like how do the nanobots disintegrate the particles of a piece of wood and reform it into something else, like a piece of metal, something that's really cool, but it involves like a lot of energy to do. I think it's disintegrating something and then forming it, making something else out of the disintegration. So
yeah, it's all taking energy, but energy is abundant. It's not scarce. We just don't know how to use it.
like harness, how to speed up the process of atom forming molecules and molecules into bigger parts.
Yeah. We could do a lot more as a species right now if we just organize ourselves more efficiently.
We all put our heads together, because not everyone sees the same things from the same position, and so it goes without saying that a little bit more than I do in some areas from where you're standing, and I can't see what you're seeing from where you're standing. So even if you're maybe not so knowledgeable in some areas, I can learn a thing or two from you in other areas. So.
Yeah. And then that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show about society and how we organize. It's hard to change the fundamental structure of society, and it's not going to happen soon, or it's not going to happen quickly, I should say. It could happen. It could start soon, but people are conditioned by their environment, and it's going to take years for people to be reconditioned to a whole different environment. That's just
people need to eat daily. People need to eat daily.
Yeah,
people are kept busy by this rat race, and so they tend to really forget about other things, important things like you can't blame people or society as a whole for dragging
you can't blame any individual for the state of the world today, but individuals will be the ones who pay in the end if we don't change direction and allow the environment to just destroy it, get detangled and completely disrupted. Individuals will be the ones who bear the brunt of the destruction. It's not going to be a corporation that pays. It's individuals that make the corporation.
Anytime at all, I'm ready to transition. I'm already there. Let's go. Come on. I'm so excited.
But the trick is, how do you feed everybody and keep everything in order while transitioning to a whole new system? That's a monumental task,
Yes, yes.
but it's one that has to be done eventually if you want to minimize the damage we're doing. And
If we could still, undo the things we've done, this, what if, like John earlier said, we don't know if we'll still be around 50 to 100 years from now.
yeah, there's no guarantees, and that's another difficult thing is people think, well, why worry about the future? I have to worry about right now. I might not be here in 2 years. I need to just
Enjoy my life.
yeah, be thankful for what I have and enjoy my time and my family.
Yeah, like take care of myself, more than just
Yeah,
more than thinking about saving the world or changing the world or changing people
Yeah.
and stuff.
most people don't care. They don't think they can, and they don't think they should even try because they can't. Anyways, so they're complacent. They work their job and they do what they can, and they try to go on vacation and watch football and movies and eat pizza and go out and drink or whatever they like to do, play a sport,
But
whatever it is.
we can't blame
No,
them.
but you can try to educate people, and
Oh,
I think people will make the right decision on their own if they know what they stand to gain from doing it. People have no idea that there's even this possibility that we could all have abundance and live in a sustainable green world where everyone is doing well and there's no poverty. They don't even know that's possible because it's never happened. So why should they? And they think things like human nature just can't allow that because there's always people that are greedy. There's always going to be someone taking advantage and this and that. Because that's how it's always been in their life. That's how it's been throughout history. So they assume that that's how it's always going to be. Not
And life
understanding.
and life is difficult, really, as it is. And
Yeah.
people really have to just think about, how are my kids gonna eat today? What
Mhm.
they can plan for the next maybe 10 years. It's all about the money, their survival and stuff, security and all that. But so it's always a short term. It's well, people should still do that. And on the side and alongside that is we should plan our way out.
Yeah, you can maintain the global order while also looking forward to something new, but
And better and way better. Something you really
way
deserve.
better. Yeah, you have to give them a reason. You have to show them images and portray it to them in a way that they think, wow, that's something that would be awesome. I really want that. And then millions and millions of people have to mobilize and start doing it. And that's what Jacques tried to do, Jacques Fresco and Roxana Meadows with the Venus Project, is to show people a small piece of what it could look like. So they made films and they created models, and he did thousands of drawings.
Yeah.
And then they built a 20-acre site where they have 10 buildings there, and it's supposed to represent a small piece of one city in the residential area. And that's where they have their models and all of their archives there, and did tours for years and years to show people. But if you're not allowed on mainstream media and you have no money in this world, it's really hard to reach the masses. And it really would have never even happened to the small scale that it did without a film becoming viral on the internet through YouTube. Technology is what's allowed that to happen. And technology will allow the next phase to occur too, I have no doubt. But it has to be known. It has to spread. It has to be. It has to be taught to the masses, and you know, who knows if or when that'll happen, but why not try if you can?
Why don't we pick a page or a few pages from the from the book of quotes?
All right,
Yeah.
pick a number, or have somebody, if they're watching, pick a number.
77. Well, Rex is in the comments here on YouTube. I don't know if he's still awake. Because he left two comments here like maybe an hour ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So he might not be here anymore. So 77, let's see.
All right, 77. This is from the book Do You Speak Future, which is a compilation of quotes from Jacques Fresco over the years, and was put together by the Venus Project a few years ago to give people some of his words of wisdom and show people what his way of thinking was. And it's meant to be shared with people, and it's just a small pocket book of easy to read quotes. So there's about 201. And here's number 77. Sometimes a person comes up to me and says, I have 10 children. I then ask, what are they for? Just having children is not wisdom. No, I do not believe in depopulation. I believe in educating the public. Why do you not put 10,000 people on a boat? Because it will sink. The displacement of that boat determines how many people you can put on it, not Fresco. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So he's talking about the carrying capacity of the earth.
Yeah.
We can't have 100 billion people on the planet and expect to be living sustainably. Now, I do believe you can have more people than we have now even, and still be sustainable and still meet the needs of all people. I think overpopulation is kind of a myth, but I also think that we don't need 7, 8, 9 billion people on the planet to ensure, human survival either. It comes down to how are those people living? And the United States is a great example of how not to live sustainably, even though we're doing well. We have a great lifestyle, we have a high quality of living, but we also use like 1/5 of the world's energy, even though we're 1/20th of the population or less. And we create massive amounts of waste because we just buy and throw things away, and we burn tons of fossil fuels, which adds to the climate change problem. So we're living a great lifestyle, but at great cost. And I think if everybody lived with better technology and had a better standard of living within our environment and without using destructive methods like burning fossil fuels, if the whole world lived that way, I think we could support billions more people and still be cleaner than we are now, still have a more sustainable planet. But we're, like we said earlier, we're still in the fossil fuel era. We still have to buy and sell and throw things away to keep the economy going. It's a cyclical, destructive economy, even though it's created the most wealth of any society ever that we know of. It's got to be equitable for all people, but still non-destructive to the environment. Doesn't cause oceans to be acidified and fished out and have our forest lands and our rainforest chopped down to grow food on and create, you know, more beef for the world. We could do things much more efficiently and sustainably and support many more people and still be much better off as a species and for our oceans, forests, rivers, and the atmosphere. It's all about the system that we're living on, and right now there's an end in sight. You know, that we can't just keep growing forever and keep cutting down rainforest and polluting the air and expect nothing to happen. That's out of touch with reality.
So, and businessmen and ordinary people alike would do anything for money. Or at least most people would, you know. But
Yeah.
the consequences are grave. Like we don't realize that the environmental impact of what we're doing just to survive is survival really involves lousing of the environment. So,
Yeah, it's short-term survival. We're not thinking long-term survival, and that could be the end of the structure we live in now. You know, survival is not just what's in your face, it's also 10 years, 20 years, several generations down the line. And what kind of world do you want to leave for your kids if you have kids or your great grandkids? You want them to have places they can go to out in nature? Do you want them to have to wear gas masks to go outside to breathe the air? You know, what kind of world are you trying to create here? And that's something Fresco was, that kind of defined his whole life. What kind of world do you want to live in? He saw a different vision for the future than almost anybody else.
yeah. And people are huge on things like compassion and love and stuff like that. Well, again, we can't blame them. But Fresco was the kind of person who walked the talk. Really.
Yeah.
He was really the most compassionate person who lived on Earth, I think.
Yeah. He talked about cold science. People think of science as cold science.
Yes,
because it's just
that's the
facts and
problem.
numbers, and it's research and people in lab coats,
Mhm.
you know, looking at a screen or into a microscope. But really, science is the warmest thing, not the coldest thing,
Yeah,
because it creates vaccines for people. It creates technology that supports people. It's allowed tons of food to be created and
what
grown.
people consider to be warm and whatever, you know, is the crying, the fighting, you know, the reconciliation, all those things,
Mhm.
the shouting, the whatever.
Yeah, you can be warm and cuddly for someone who is watching their house burn down, and you can be as nice as you want to them while their house is burning down. Are you really helping them? You know, if you have a fire truck with a hose and you could put the fire out, but you're talking really nice to them instead, that's acting warm to them, but are you really helping them? No. You know, you could talk nice to people who are starving and you have all the food in the world. You can be really warm towards them and not feed them. Or you can just feed them and not say anything, you know, which is really warm. So it's the most pragmatic way of thinking that I can imagine. Use science and technology and apply it directly to society to create abundance and a higher standard of living for all people while protecting the environment. The concept is very straightforward and basic, but it's extremely complicated to actually carry out.
To actually reach that point where, you think that way, you converted your creativity from being self-centered and consumed into something universal, like Fresco did, all the art and creativity is now for humanity. Yeah, and I think that's how art should transition, how it should evolve,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we understand why people on the onset are, they portray society, and their art, as a reaction to society, stuff like that. And hopefully, if they're still alive, they could eventually and ultimately do something like what Presto did. So,
Yeah.
and these creative people can also be multi-talented. Right? They cannot just be musicians or painters or photographers. Can be more than that.
Yeah.
He was the epitome of what an artist could be, or what an artist is, what a scientist is.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you now.
He's the epitome of what an artist is, or a scientist is.
Yeah. You can be a scientist and an artist, what's the difference?
I mean, like it's all about creative thinking. I mean, there's no difference.
Yep. But
And you don't have to,
John.
and you don't have to be formally to be a professor or to be a scientist wearing a lab gown, working in the lab. To think like a scientist, to think straight, to think well. You don't have to be employed at NASA to think well.
Yeah. Science is a method, it's not a person or an organization. It's a way of thinking about the world.
Yeah. But do you remember Fresco, saying something about, physicians or doctors are not really scientists, right? They're kind of, I don't know, lab technicians or something.
Well, yeah, I've heard him talk about that in the sense that it's hard to find a real scientist because we're all subject to the monetary system. So there's always compromise, it seems. And scientists can be bought off. They can be bought out by a business, an industry. They can be paid to come up with the result that they want. And the scientists will come up with that result by, negating some things and emphasizing other things. And
For the corporation, come up with a product that can be lucrative, that can earn money for the corporation.
Yeah.
And yourself,
Yeah, like engineers are the same way. They can be used to engineer something that breaks down at a certain time, precisely.
Mhm.
and that's happened for years. Does that make sense in the real world? No. Does it help a business make more money in the long run? Yes. Which is why they do it.
Yeah, well, what do you call it again?
Planned obsolescence.
Planned obsolescence.
It's a whole field of engineering. It's, I don't know if it's formally a field, but there's planned obsolescence. And it happens through precise engineering to make things not last a certain length of time. It's intentionally limiting the lifespan of a product to make it a cyclical consumption type of object, like the light bulb.
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know?
We can go for like 1,000 hours only.
Yeah. Now there are LED light bulbs that last almost
Right.
forever, but
Yeah.
for decades and decades, and still in most houses, you have these light bulbs that last 2 years and they die. That's not an accident. Computers last a certain amount of time, printers,
Yeah.
cars, like
And
I've
they
had
need
several
yeah,
vehicles.
they need upgrades, even cars, so
Yeah. Like the modern car, I've had this happen twice. There's a timing chain on the front of the motor that has a tensioner on it,
Mhm.
and the timing chain spins around these gears, right? Well,
Mhm.
there's a plastic thing that pushes on the chain
Mhm.
in order to keep the tension at the
Mhm.
right amount, so it doesn't fly off everywhere when it spins.
Mhm.
That tensioner is plastic.
Yeah, it gets corroded.
At about 150,000 miles, that chain wears through the plastic and it breaks. And then you can hear the chain spinning inside the motor, hitting the outside of the case of the engine. You can hear it, and it's happened to me twice.
Oh.
Instead of using a piece of aluminum or titanium, they use a piece of plastic that they know will break. And then you have to have that motor serviced. It's a major service. It costs like $500, $800 to have done. That's planned, right? That's planned. And automotive companies, dealerships, and even the manufacturers, they make little to nothing off of the sale of the vehicles. What they make the most off of is service and parts.
Oh, after sales.
That's where the real money's at.
Mhm.
How do they do that? Planned obsolescence. You got to have your car tuned up. You got to have it on a schedule of routine maintenance. At this many miles, you got to do this. At this many miles, you have to do that. At 150,000 miles, you're supposed to get a new timing chain or whatever it is. And all along the life of that vehicle, it's getting more and more prone to breaking down. And that's where the real money is at. Get it in people's hands, and then you got a money-making stream.
If you have to pay, then you make some money.
Yeah. It's everywhere. So it's when you have a system that relies on consumption and the cyclical cycle of money, then that's what you should expect. Whatever makes the most money is what people implement. It's not about what makes sense.
So, yeah, we're really backwards in that sense, right? There's still stuff here.
Yeah.
So even it's going for money.
Thankfully, though, new technology has slowly started to change those things, and it's met with great resistance. And
What was
I
the
can't.
year? What was the year that Ray Kurzweil set for? Is it 2045?
Oh, for the singularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2045 or 2049. But he also predicts in 2029 that we will have true AI, general AI.
Wow.
And that year is coming up, and everything that he's predicted is starting to unfold. He might not get the exact year right, but he's getting it right. And like if you watch this latest interview, it's a good one. I just started it a little bit. He said that when he first came out with that prediction about the singularity and about AI and passing the Turing test, he said most other researchers disagreed with him and said that it's going to be 100 years or 200 years.
And now they agree with him.
And now as the years roll on, he tells Lex that they went from that to maybe a little sooner. And then some of them got a little sooner. And you know what their prediction now is by the majority? 2030.
Oh, very close to his prediction.
They went from generations or hundreds of years to now slowly they're ramping it back to 2030, not 2029, 2030. He's a year off.
Yeah.
Who cares? If it's 2030 or 2035, it's going to happen in our lifetime, and it's going to be groundbreaking.
Wow.
By the way, before we go, Tesla is having their AI presentation on Friday, so you can stream it.
Wow. Okay.
They're going to show off their Optimus robot that they've been working on, and it's going to be somewhat functional, like an actual robot that's like this tall and weighs about 135 pounds, and it's going to have their technology embedded in it. 2 arms, 2 legs. Who knows what it's going to be able to do? But they're going to talk about their latest research and development and show off this.
This is Friday. What time? What time is Friday? Friday your time?
Yeah, Friday Eastern time. In the US, it's probably going to be around 7 Eastern, probably around 4, maybe 5 Pacific.
PM. Is that PM?
PM.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
it's gonna be early in the morning, Saturday here. Okay.
Yeah. It's probably going to be like 11 or 12 o'clock UTC. They do it in the evenings, early evening on the West Coast, and 7 or 8 o'clock ish on the East Coast, where I'm at. So keep an eye out for it. It's going to be. He says it's going to be pretty interesting.
So it's gonna be on YouTube or
Yeah. Well, they stream it wherever they're doing it at, and then people stream it on YouTube and wherever else on their own channels. It'll be easy to find. Just look up Tesla AI Day 2022.
Okay. All right.
And it'll be interesting.
Well, it'd be nice to end earlier than scheduled tonight. Yeah, we're it was nice to have John with us. Also, Rex in the comments. We're missing the other friends, like Noel and Kuya. Hopefully, Kuya can join us again the following Sundays. And more regional coordinators. from all over.
Yeah, at our next meeting, John and I might talk about it again and see who else is maybe interested.
Mhm.
So the more the merrier.
Yes. Or like we say here, the more the merrier.
More the merrier.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Cliff, and everybody else who's gonna watch this or who's been watching, got our knowledge. Oh, I forgot to share the link. Okay. But anyway, I'll post the link on Facebook. So
right.
till next week, guys. Have a nice life. Get long and prosper. The extension.
Have a nice life. For extension, you all. Take care. See you next
Yeah.
week. Bye.